Jam, a man of fortune, and Jay must seek my fortune. Henry Avery's, 1994.
Well guys, I'm finally here. The end. The end of the Uncharted series. Now, I have to preface this video by apologizing, because I finished Uncharted 4 a literal month ago, but I procrastinated from writing this video right away. After that, my school decided it would be a great time to dial the homework load to 11, and so I've barely had time to write this video since then. But now that I finally have some free time, and time to think about the final game and the series as a whole, I think I'm ready to finish my review of the Uncharted series. Now, before we begin, you might notice that the footage I'm using for this video is not mine. That is because while I edited the Who Killed Captain Alex video, my computer decided it was a good time to just corrupt all of my Elgato footage. Yup. Everything. This meant that all of my footage, 11 hours worth of it mind you, was basically useless now. So I had to end up deleting all of it. So thank God for NRM Walkthrough HD for uploading their entire playthrough so I could use it. Link to their channel in the description. You the real MVP. So without further ado, grab your Takis, grab your cherry Coke, grab your peanut butter M&Ms, and let's finish this off. Let's get to my review of Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Funny enough, my only experience with the Uncharted series before playing it for these videos was at my cousin's house a few years back. He had Uncharted 4 and I popped the disc into his PlayStation and we played the few first levels of it. I don't remember if I liked it or not, but 4 years later, I got to experience those opening levels for the first time again. Going into this game, I had the highest of expectations, as I was hearing it was one of the definitive exclusives of the PS4 era, and it kinda lives up to the hype. I'm still not sure if I'm in love with the game or the themes behind it or both. Either way though, this game is without a doubt a definitive blockbuster experience that I loved in the beginning, kinda hated in the middle, and loved in the end. And most of my feelings for this game come from the story, so we gotta get to the boring stuff out of the way, but for once, it's not that boring. Let's start with the sexy-ass elephant in the room, the graphics. Oh my word, you guys. The graphics might be the best I've ever seen in a video game, from a realism standpoint. Second only to Red Dead Redemption 2, and even then they're not that far apart in my opinion. The lighting of different locales to the small environmental details they put, like the way his hair is wet when he gets out of some water and it dries out after a while, to the literal mud tracks on that Madagascar level. That looks so good! I'm no tech major, so I couldn't tell you what kinds of algorithms and chrono shaders they used here, but whatever they did well. Like, really well. Like, to the point where my mom walked in during a cutscene and asked what movie I was watching. Naughty Dog gets a standing ovation in the graphics department. They knocked it out of the park, especially on that Madagascar level. The shooting in Uncharted has never been amazing by video game standards, it's kinda just okay. I know I praised the shooting in Uncharted 2 and 3, but that's only because they were better than the shooting from the first game, which is garbage. The default sensitivity is a little higher and way smoother, and there are a wide variety of guns from classic favorites to new hotnesses galore. The zoomed in aim FOV combined with the smoother sensitivity takes a little to get used to, but it makes shootouts snappier, faster, and ultimately more fun. Now, all of this praise must come to a sudden halt, because there is a glooming problem with this game, and unfortunately it is the thing you will be doing the most. Climbing. Guys, Donkey wasn't lying. There is way too much climbing in this game. Now, climbing is a core part of every Uncharted game, and I heard a lot of people saying that they don't like the climbing in every game. But I thought that they are spread out evenly enough, and besides a few small instances, they didn't drag on too long to become annoying. That is not the case in this game though, because almost every time I was climbing, I was thinking to myself, I could be playing The Witcher right now. This shit is so boring and repetitive. Every time the story was looking like it was gonna ramp up, or I just been finished a crazy shootout, I would be hit with 20 straight minutes of climbing, bro. I don't know if it's fatigue just from the act of climbing in all of these games, or if it's just really bad in this one, but the experience definitely lost points in my distaste for the climbing. Oh yeah, the puzzles are here. I almost forgot. The puzzles here were fine. Nothing horrible like Uncharted 2, but nothing even remotely a little bit fun like Uncharted 3. I didn't need to Google the solutions to any of these puzzles, so that should say everything you need to know. These were inoffensive, by-the-books, Indiana Jones adventure-style Tomb Raider puzzles that served their purpose, and now I want to just forget that they ever existed. Now that I've covered the technical aspects, let's get to pretty much the only reason I even forced myself to finish this game. The story. And I've got a lot to say. The story in this game is probably the strongest aspect, and not for the reasons you probably think. The game incorporates the classic blockbuster action one's come to expect from the Uncharted series with genuine character depth and personality. The story starts with Nathan and his brother Sam escaping from mercenaries on a boat. And it is here where you are probably asking yourself, wait, what? Did you say the word brother? Yes, this game introduces Sam Drake, Nathan's scummy, swashbuckling, long-lost brother who, for some reason, hasn't ever been mentioned until this game. This is really bad writing, you guys. I honestly expected better from the company that brought me Double Cross Simulator 2009. The game has a pretty long prologue section, as there's almost 2 hours of gameplay before the title even drops. In this prologue, we learn about how Nathan and Sam made a deal with a man named Rafe many years ago, and they planned a heist that didn't go so well and ended up with Sam getting killed while they tried to escape from prison. After that, we fast forward 15 years and catch up with our good old protagonist pal Nathan Drake, who is retired from treasure hunting and living a normal life. Nathan and Elena are married now. They own a house, they're older, things aren't the same, and the game takes its time in investing you into this new way of life and showing that things are different. No sooner, though, it is revealed that Samuel is still alive and running from the ruthless criminal named Hector Alcazar, who wants Henry Avery's lost treasure. This sets off him and Sam onto one last globe-trotting treasure hunting expedition that reunites Nathan with fan-favorite characters like Sully and introduces new characters like the ultra-punchable Rafe to the tough-as-nails mercenary Nadine, who has one of the most inconsistent accents I've ever seen. I don't know how they didn't catch it, but she starts out with like a New Zealand/Australian accent and ends the game with a pseudo-Indian accent. What?
Yeah. You know how it is. Every once in a while a job requires us to get all dolled up.
That maniac pirate of yours has rigged this entire cave. I'm not setting foot on his ship.
This game is single-handedly the longest one in terms of runtime, and because of that, the lengths of the beginning, middle, and end are all extended in comparison to the other games. Let's examine each by themselves, and because I've already started talking about the beginning, I'll finish it. The beginning might be my favorite out of all of the games, and yes, that is counting Uncharted 3's awesome beginning. After the prologue levels I covered, the game puts you into the shoes of Samuel Drake during his flashback, showing in detail the prison break orchestrated by Hector Alcazar and you living through the chaotic firefights and hell riots and you barely escaping with your life and the debt that you owe him. After that, the first act concludes with a monumental heist involving Nate, Sam, and Sully infiltrating an Italian auction and stealing the St. Dismas cross that it turns out Rafe is also after, and you having to end up shooting your way out and barely escaping with your lives. It is one of my favorite levels from the entire series. Unfortunately, that is where the beginning of the plot ends and the middle begins. And unfortunately, it is the longest one. The middle of this story sees our characters traveling from location to location, looking for clues and answers to things. Yes, things. And I do not care to elaborate. Again, this part of the game isn't bad per se, it's just a lot of stuff that we've seen before and better. It's long, explorative sections that go on for way too long and have too much climbing and usually end up with the characters finding that they have to go somewhere else and just barely escaping from Rafe and his crew at the last minute. It's a formula that gets very repetitive very quickly. While this is happening, the story doesn't really progress that much because the only part that gets focused on is the treasure hunting, which is usually inconsequential. Even after Elena mildly dumps Nate and he starts realizing how bad he has become now that his brother is back and how he has affected his life in such a negative way, and the game narratively feeling like it's ready to head into the final act, it still goes on for 2.5 more damn hours, bro. 2.5 more hours! I got shit to do! I can't be looking for a f***ing, marking of a coin for 2.5 hours, bro. Jeez. This section of the game seems only to exist so that Naughty Dog could show off the graphics of the new locations, and while I do appreciate them, I need a better reason than, oh, they look good, because that only gets you so far with me. Aside from a few exciting moments, I literally can't remember much from the middle chunk of this game, which is pretty sad because, again, it's what you're gonna be doing the most. Now, the ending, however, is much, much better. The game throws a twist about 3/5 of the way through, revealing that Sam had actually lied to him about Alcazar breaking him out of prison, and that Rafe was the one that he owed the debt to the whole time. This was a nice twist that I genuinely didn't see coming, that ended in Sam getting shot and pushing Nate off a cliff and dying. Just kidding, he's the main character, so of course he lived. He gets saved by Elena, which... Sure, I'll give the slightest of passes. They team up to go save Sam and get off the island in a nice homage to the original game. The final boss fight was probably my favorite and most satisfying out of all of the games. Seeing two modern-day thieves sword fight in a destroyed pirate ship surrounded by the treasure that they both worked their lives off searching for, knowing that they are both probably gonna die soon anyway, but their will and yearning for that treasure blinds them to that fact, is kind of poetically beautiful. The fight ends with Nathan beating Rafe by outsmarting him and then proceeding to save not the treasure, not himself, his brother. This one act shows that even after all of the hell his brother caused his life, all of the pain that his brother has caused him in his entire life, even after all the hell that his brother has shown him, it shows his character growth and himself coming full circle in finding acceptance and saving his life. This is a good game. So, here we are. We are done with the Uncharted series. I have played through and reviewed every single one. So now it's time to rank them. YouTube is a weird place. Number 4, Uncharted 1, Drake's Fornication. While the first game is very dated in some aspects, I still kinda have a soft spot for it. Now, it's at the bottom of the list, and it's lost a little in terms of points because of every game that preceded it improved upon pretty much every aspect of this game, but it's still a fun time. I can definitely see myself replaying this in the future, especially for that zombie level. 7 out of 10. Number 3, Uncharted 2, Among Us. I have a lot of mixed feelings on this game, and my opinion on it pretty much changes every week. Some days I think it's a masterpiece, and others I think it's trash. Overall though, I think my score would have to go down a little bit since the last time I rated it, considering that the next games would improve upon a lot from this game as well. Now I would score it more like a 7.5 or an 8. Well, it happens that you caught me on a day that I like it, so I'll give it an 8. Number 2, Uncharted 4, Thief's Friend. This was a great conclusion to the series that was a bit of a mixed bag at times, but I ended up falling on the side that favored it. The good ended up outweighing the bad in the end, in an experience that ended up entertaining me, thrilling me, and moving me. And I think that is something that you can't just wash over. 8.5 out of 10. And number 1, as if y'all didn't already know, Uncharted 3, Drake's Decepticon. The more and more I think about this game, the more and more I fall deeper in love with it. This game nails something that every other one fails at: pacing. Like I've said before, this game has perfect pacing, and it's ultimately what elevates it to the heights that the other games sorely wish that they could reach. It transcends genres of entertainment and ultimately becomes an experience, and one of the best that you could ever give yourself on PlayStation. My chakra has been realigned. My fifth eye has been opened. This is now one of my favorite games of all time. 10 out of 10. Fucking masterpiece. So that's it. That's the Uncharted series. Wow. I can't believe we're done. In classic lagging cactus fashion, what should have taken 5 months ended up taking 10, and I love it all the more for that reason. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series as much as I've enjoyed making it. This is not the only time I'll be doing these kinds of videos. I'm planning on doing another ranked and reviewed on one of 2 popular game series, but I haven't decided yet. Until then, though, I will gladly retreat into my cave, keep reading comments, chug some kombucha, and go to work finishing the community video. So until then, this is the Lagging Cactus, signing out. I love you guys.